This is Jette Ferguson, listing agent and buyer's agent. I am going to mention today something that it drives me nuts when agents don't explain it. So I'm just going to mention a little pet peeve. I always explain when signing a purchase agreement how you handle an issue if it comes up, because you want the contract to be valid and you want a buyer and acceptor and seller, buyer and seller, to both be very aware that when they are going into escrow, going into contract together to fully execute it, they need it signed and they need to agree on certain terms. So if there is an incident that came up, and thank you God, I haven't had that since 2003, since I've been a broker, but if it ever did happen, I make sure that I educate my buyers and sellers and that they agree upon how they're going to approach a big issue. A big issue is generally a seller not properly disclosing something that is wrong or that went wrong in the past. Let's say there was a big flood in the past and a year later a buyer bought the house. The flood was not properly disclosed and there's mold and something in water in the walls or something major. And let's say it's $25,000 to fix. What do? You go to the contract and see what you signed off for, because you have to sign off for it to buy a house. So real estate issues always start with mediation. The buyer and seller need to agree upon a mediator. That's step one. If mediation does not satisfy, and that's simply a facilitation between the buyer and seller. The mediator is not making suggestions. They're just getting a buyer and seller to communicate. The next step is to decide between a typical legal course of action going through the court system or arbitration. But arbitration that is legally binding and only one time. So you have to agree upon an arbitrator. Then you have to accept whatever terms they say. Whatever they say goes, and that is a done deal. You don't get to go back. It is legally binding. Or you can go the judicial court route, and then if you don't like it, you can address that and try to go to a higher court, or I probably don't know the right terminology for that. I'd say about 75-80% of my clients select arbitration and the remainder select judicial. Everybody has their own reasons for that. So I would encourage you to investigate that prior to writing an offer or prior to listing a house. I tell all of my sellers, it's easier to know if you have a strong preference one way or another, which way you want to go. Because if you are 100% only going to accept arbitration, it's much easier for us to tell the buyers that up front, that because it's going to be countered anyway. So I always talk to my sellers first. And usually they don't care which way it goes and they're okay with accepting the buyer's terms. But once in a while there is a strong preference and they will say, I want judicial or I want arbitration. I'll put it in the private agent notes so the agent is aware of that it will most likely be countered if they write an offer the opposite way. All right, this is Jette Ferguson, Carmel, California, Sotheby's International Realty, here on a casual Wednesday. Thank you.